Hi everyone, I'm so excited today to talk about this. I don't know why I'm that excited, because normally I'm not really into baking shows that much. I hate Nailed It, but when it gets colder, I watch them sometimes, but this one is different. This one is seriously different.
Welcome to the inventive and delicious world of baking impossible. You guys ready for this? The country's best bakers and smartest engineers have come together to form 9 teams.
I'm Mario. Joey.
Boundaries will be broken, unimaginable cakes will be created. They'll bake and build incredible, engineered, mouth-watering marvels that will be put to the ultimate test. Science has never tasted so sweet.
It came out last week, and it's called Baking Impossible, and I finished all of the episodes that were out until last week. And then they ended on a cliffhanger, and the last 2 episodes came out today, and I instantly watched them, and I have to talk about it. This was so good, and I did not expect that at all. So in this video, I'm only going to talk about the first 2 episodes because I really want you to watch this, and I don't want to spoil it at all. This baking show is not that much different from other baking shows in the sense that there's like prize money. This time it's like 100,000, I don't know. Is there prize money on other baking shows? I'm really not that much into them normally. But this time people can win. So they are teams of 2 people and they both can win $100,000. So it will be split between 2 people. So they are teams of 2 people and they have to make these beautiful structures under certain themes. The first episode, for example, has like ships. They had to make a ship that looks beautiful in 8 hours, but that's not all. That would be a normal baking show. But this baking show, they have to do some kind of like stress test, and it's basically insane. So they have to make a cake that looks like a ship, and then it has to swim on this elongated pool. They also have to steer it through a course, and that is the first challenge. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was shook when I saw that, and I thought, no way are they gonna make a cake that's floating. So they had like different techniques, and that's what's also interesting about this, to see how people are going to make a cake waterproof. And some of them were using like thick layers of chocolate, and I think other people were using gelatin and all this stuff, and you're like, is that gonna work? And it's like such a thrill to see that when they like put the ship in the water and then it's gonna sink. My heart sank. The first ship that sank, I was like, oh my god, that is soul crushing, because they are doing that in front of the creators, like in front of the baconeers is what they call them. It's like always one engineer and one professional baker. It's insane. But it's also kind of the thrill of it, that this beautiful creation that took up to 16 hours. At first they are doing a normal work job, like only 8 hours, but as the challenges like progress, they need more time. So later in the season, they are doing like 16-hour creations, and then it just gets destroyed right in front of them.
Oh boy, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no! Oh no!
You get used to that is the thrill of it all. It's like kind of what's like the enticing thing about it, even though I didn't really like it at first. So my favorites from this challenge was Cindy and Taylor, and they were my favorites throughout the whole season. Every single episode I was stunned by what they were doing. Not only because it looked so great, but there was always a theme. There was always this extra thought to it, and it was crazy. They were my favorites the whole time. I think they did like some ferry boat or something. And when I was Googling for this show, it said like Cindy and Taylor dating. I was like, oh my god, Taylor's obviously like one of the fairies. He's one of us. Like, they are not dating. Maybe he's bisexual. I don't know. I don't want to assume his sexuality, but the first search result that came up after Baking Impossible was Cindy. So I'm not the only one that fell in love with Cindy. She just had these magical ideas. And I think she just really worked very well with Taylor, and it was so great to just see them. I also like the judges. They were also like really pleasant to watch. Sometimes in baking shows it's like kind of annoying. For example, like Nailed It, I think it's way too much. All the screaming and I can't even reproduce it. It's always just way too over the top for me, and this just felt very authentic. The critiques were very real and like reasonable. So that was great. I also like the banter between the host and is he British? Is he from New Zealand? I can't like put his accent in a box. The red-haired guy. There was like all this like little banter between them the whole time.
Very tough decision to make. Andrew, do you want me to take care of your controller while you're gone?
I'll keep a hold of it, thank you.
Okay. Why don't you guys go discuss? We'll sit tight.
Well, the host was like, I don't know, belittling him a little bit, but like in a funny and cute way. I honestly, I ship them, to be honest. I don't care if they're straight or not. I just wanted them to kiss. I really enjoyed that. But I might have read a little too much into it. So back to the challenge. The first challenge where they were steering the boats, they not only had to float, but they also had to like be steered around obstacles. And one team, Renee and I don't know the guy's name, but Renee, you have such a great name, but she fucked it up. Like,
Go!
See you on the rudder.
Okay.
she was like cheering and like she was so happy that the boat was floating, but she wasn't steering it anymore. And
Oh, octopus!
Hit the rudder.
Oh, hit the rudder. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I was. Uh-oh. Oh no!
then it instantly like drifted to the side and then just got stuck. So they didn't really make that part of the challenge.
Ah! Oh no! I'm sorry, that was my bad. I wasn't focusing. Uh-oh.
All right, we're done.
And her partner just gave off such dad vibes. He was like so chill about it, but also like kind of disappointed. It really gave off like dad vibes.
All right, Steve and Renee, time is up. I'm curious, how did you guys decide who was going to steer the ship?
My engineer. I gave that up to her. I said, you got this, Renee. I will make it float. You make it go down the stretch. She goes, I got it.
To see that they basically nailed the challenge, but then like Renee fucked it up because she wasn't paying attention. And that happened a couple of times. Like she was struggling with the engineering part of it all. And the other guy was such a good like chocolatier. He was so good at what he was doing, so it was a little, I don't know, a little hard to watch, but it was also very interesting. This whole show was like really fun, but also like kind of sinister. It's like so bad actually. They like put so much work into it and then it gets destroyed right in front of their faces. I'm smiling the whole time. It was really entertaining. I haven't been that entertained in a long time and I didn't expect to be that entertained by a baking show. So that's why I'm smiling this whole time. So after each round there's gonna be a winner that gets an advantage in the next challenge and one of the teams is gonna be eliminated and that's how they're gonna progress. But there's gonna be a twist in one of the later seasons. That's not gonna be in every season. I also really enjoyed the twist. I didn't see that coming. We love a good twist. Everybody that watches RuPaul's Drag Race loves a good twist. So there was just a minor twist, but it was so good. So after the first episode, I felt like this is insane. What are they gonna do for the second episode? They can't keep that up. It's gonna be repetitive. And it's not. Like every challenge is different and they really managed to like figure something else out for every episode. So that's why I wanted to talk about the first two episodes, because the second one, they had to make a robot, a fully functioning robot that also has to be edible. So they always say like, it's 100% edible, it's 100% edible, but they also have these structures that is being built onto, like the robot structure, for example. So it's not fully edible, but everything they added has to be fully edible. So every time they were saying, yeah, this robot is fully edible, I was like, is it though? So that part is a little, but the enjoyable part about this is not that it's like fully edible or whatever. Nobody's gonna eat it anyway. That's like another thing, like the food waste. I really hope they donated the edible parts. That would be great. Like otherwise it's like, but it's also a little bit like there's a food fight breaking out and you're standing in the middle of it and you're screaming like, wasting food is bad. It's like, is it the right place? I mean, it's a TV show, so I think it's a critical point that I'm gonna give it. That's like my only critique, like the food waste. That's a little sad, but how are you gonna like donate food that's going to be destroyed, and if you leave out the destroying part of the show, it's like every other baking show. It's like a struggle a little bit. So back to the second episode. They had to make this like fully functioning robot that has to go through this obstacle course, and they always say before the episode like what the requirements are for the structure that they have to make, and it says shock absorbent. And I was like, what the fuck? How do you make a cake that's walking and fully functioning and you make that shock absorbent? Like, what the hell? But they made it, and that's the crazy part. Like when you hear it, you're like, no way, that's never gonna work. And then they make it, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. I feel like I'm just repeating myself this whole time, but this obstacle course, not many of the robots were making it, but the ones that were making it flawlessly, and that was really interesting to see that it's not just doable, but it's also like doable like that well to that extent, while other people are like struggling. That's like really the competition of it all. I think in this episode, Cindy and Taylor were also my favorites again. Most of them were great though. So stunning, but it's like so temporary. To see it get destroyed is like somehow adding to the value of it. It's like sandcastles. Like, wow, this is so impressive, but it's just gonna be there for a short time. It's just temporarily, and that kind of adds to it somehow. But they have to work really hard for it to make it indestructible. And in a later episode, they are also using this ramen technique that people were doing for these 5-minute craft videos where they were repairing a sink with ramen noodles. They are using some type of that with chocolate. That was really interesting to see this viral moment making it into like the actual profession, because these are all like professional bakers. So that was really, really interesting to see. Ooh, the sun is coming out, and honestly, it's like so hot in here. I have this light above me right here. It's like projecting so much heat. Oh my god, it was such a gloomy day today, like so full of rain, but now it's like so hot in here. I'm melting. Another contestant that I wanted to talk about is Rodolfo. He's really cute, first of all, but he also reminds me of Mr. Beast. Anyone else? Is that because of his face? Maybe his face looks kind of similar, or like the way he talks. I think it's his face mostly that he looks similar. If somebody would tell me he's his bigger brother, I would be like, yeah, that checks out. So finally, I can just say this show is sinister, but good, really good. It's like eating way too much cake. You know, it's like, or it's like bad, but it's still enjoyable. I don't know. It's good. And now all the episodes are out. So last week there were only 6 or 7, I think, and the last just dropped today, as I said before. Like every episode is like kind of ending on a cliffhanger that you're like instantly like, okay, next episode, next episode. They like really figured that out. And even after the 6th or 7th episode, when they end on the cliffhanger and you have to wait for a week, really is interesting, but also they kind of show you like who's gonna win, because then they show a preview for the next 2 episodes, and then you can see one of the teams in the back, and it's like, oh, okay, so they are gonna win. So it wasn't really a cliffhanger for me, like to that extent, because I like skipped back and I was like, oh, okay, it was really dumb. I didn't just imagine that. That didn't really work for me, but nonetheless, it's still very good. It's like great editing. I really enjoyed it. So definitely watch this. It's definitely a recommendation for me. And the only criticism I have is the food waste. But otherwise, really good. The ratings online are not that good for it so far, but maybe it's because not that many people have watched it. And I feel like baking shows are generally stuff that's like more fall and winter. Even though I hate stuff like Nailed It, this was really good. I like really enjoyed this. There's another show with he was a YouTuber before. What's his name? Hunter. I like that show too. Those are basically the only 2 baking shows I watched, but this one was great. So big recommendation. Tell me what you think about it. Did you like it? And if you think I should do more commentary, definitely like this video. Okay, bye.